Hello, everybody. Welcome to It's a Long Story, a thrice weekly campaign set in the beautiful, wonderful world of Imea. We are here with the I almost said oldest, but the most the longest, the most refined, the longest story we could say so far, right? Yeah. Anyways, this is the Mongoose Crew. So everybody go ahead and take a look at the camera, wave, and say hi.
Hi.
Cool. So jumping into our ongoing trickiness in the space where everybody has been pushed away to different parts of the map. So we have several different stories happening all at once around in the same time. Actually, not all in the same time. So we are going to jump into that. But before we do, we need to get an idea of where we left off. So, Royal Scribe, please do the honors.
Okay, so a lot happened. So we'll start with Milo. So he's traveling with Cavish and Duchess through the woods, and while that's going on, he ends up having some nice conversation with his mentor Orin. They basically just Milo's able to ask him some questions, and they were able to we learn a little bit about Orin and how he adventured in the past, and some other backstory stuff with that. And then Milo does ask Orin if he made a similar deal, or no, he didn't ask that. Milo kind of thinks that Orin may have made a similar deal that Saren made. And then, let's see. And then later that night, after he gets all that advice from Orin and some good knowledge, he and Cavish set up camp. And then Milo has a nightmare, or is it a nightmare? We don't know, involving Aesop. The puppet boy that we left behind when we escaped from the circus. I'm
going to pause you there real quick because he is not, because I think this was something that was confused last time. He is not the puppet boy. Like I said, he himself is not a puppet.
Yeah, he's okay. He's a boy.
I think Milo confused that before because he thought that there was another
When you said
sibling.
Strings, I was confused by was he the strings holding?
No, I understand where you're at. I think for last week with Milo, I think Milo assumed that there was a connection between a couple of people. So there was a puppet that you guys experienced that had a good version of himself and a bad version.
I don't like how you phrased that.
As two separate people. That is not who this is.
Okay. This is the boy that we wanted to save but couldn't.
Right.
Okay. So, anyway, there's a lot of just scariness and sadness that goes on with that. But it seems like Milo's able to wake up and isn't killed by this boy. So that's good. Then Guar and Eldrin are still in Farah, and Zara shows up and proceeds to completely frustrate Eldrin and talk with Guar and basically tell Guar that our plan to try and get the Aarakocra on our side is probably a losing battle, but, go ahead, try if you want to. So Zara's basically vouches for us, and from there, Guar is able to appeal to them and explains the danger of Tal, and basically asks them to just think about joining us before they take before they take Tal's deal, because Tal is going to come to them with some sort of deal at some point. And during all this, we meet the Talakatakawo. Did I say that right?
No, but I applaud your efforts.
Dang it. Which is basically just like he's a large black raven-like bird that is like their military general, and he does something where he basically scrutinizes me and Guar and then talks to the king, and from there the king says they're going to deliberate and get back to us. So Eldrin and Guar end up leaving and endure a very awkward silence until they reach the outside of Farah because they can't do magic there. And then Guar proceeds to yell at Eldrin and put her in her place. And then they teleport back to Honoria. where they then proceed to go back to the castle and run into Zaris, who seems kind of distracted. And Eldrin makes a little quip about him beating us back there, and all he does is says hello. And then Guar leaves Eldrin because he wants to get a book that's left on the staircase. And Eldrin and Norris reunite. Volmos goes into a secret tunnel so that Eldrin and Norris can talk. Eldrin tries to reach out to Wilbur, doesn't hear anything back, which makes her freak out even more. And then while that's all happening, Guar and Zaris talk in Zaris's tower, and Zaris explains that he's having memory gaps and something is wrong, which then makes Zaris pop up in Eldrin's room and basically says, "You need to help me ASAP. So meet me here now," and then leaves. And then Volmos also disappears, which is great. It's awesome. Things are really coming up, Eldrin. And Guar is left in Zaris' office to explore, I think. And then we've got Wilbur, who is also talking to Zaris, but 150 years in the past. And they end up talking at the Temple of Persana, which is where Zaris is kind of holing up and has taken over the office of the current high priest, whose name is Vernus. And so Wilbur tells Zaris he's from the future. Wilbur kind of just spills everything, but not in a way where Zaris can understand. So he tells him he's from the future, tells him that his friend Cerilius was taken by the guards to see clerics, which Zaris says is probably just code for him being put in the dungeon. And then Wilbur explains that today is going to be a big day, not because of the name day ceremony, but because angels are going to fall out of the sky. And Zaris doesn't seem to really believe him. He says he's either telling the truth or is undergoing some sort of psychosis. But after all that, Wilbur ends up going with Zaris to the name day ceremony, where some chaos ensues, and Triton that no one knows the name of yet, but I'll say it's Jovos, comes to tell the king that something horrible has happened. And I think that's where we ended.
Yeah, and we had Zaris just turn and look at...
make eye contact with Wilbur.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So much work. So many names.
It was a big, session. When I was going over my notes, I was like, "Oh, damn, so much happened."
I mean, it's been a lot of name drops, lore drops, continuations of stuff. As you guys are basically, instead of having one group going through one thing, it's all of you being spread out into separate things. So.
I highlighted in my note thing for you, if that helps, of the names that are very important right now in my backstory thing. Great.
Got it. Cool. Thank you so much. That actually is super big help. Okay, great. Okay. Cool. So we are starting with Saren. So Saren, as you are, we are going to kind of speed up a little bit. Okay, interesting. Oh, that might have been okay. We are going to speed up a little bit as Saren, you are making your way back up the mountain to rest once more at a sort of space that would be, you're still kind of having to travel, I'd say about a mile up, which is a lot, considering how steep this mountain is. So I'd say, by the time you get into the top, it'd be about maybe like 4 hours. So that gives you kind of enough time to be able to kind of have that long rest. As you are waking up the next day, you are able to feed on the leftovers of the beast that you had killed. So you feel like you have sustenance at least for some time. As I believe our giant friend, Krakus, kind of like looks around, makes sure everything's kind of like set. Actually, he wouldn't even.
Did Joe disappear, or is that
Yeah.
me?
No. He's back.
Should be back. Am I back? Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Speedify. Interesting. I'm curious. Did we lose Miranda during that time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Okay, great. And honey, you're muted, but all good. Cool. So we'll say Krakus kind of looks at you, just kind of like gives you kind of a jutting sort of head forward movement, just goes, good.
Yeah, we're good. You
Okay.
ready to head to the grove?
Well, and then just heads off. So I assume you're kind of still staying on his back.
Yeah.
You got it.
Me and Gerard, if he lets him.
I can't remember if he did or not, but I will be honest with you, it's not a big thing at this point. So we'll say that's fine.
He did
Gerard
on the way up this mountain. He did.
Gotcha. Okay. So we'll say Gerard is like holding on for dear life, like a cat in a car.
Yeah.
Just like having just difficulties, like kind of like keeping the feet sort of staying underneath. But yeah, you continue sort of moving along the cliffside. You can still see on the distance. You can kind of see the like sort of tall sort of steeple marks steeples of the Mortimer Ludus that is moving further away in the distance. As you see, there are several other buildings that you're passing by, much smaller, mostly very flat. A couple of thatched roofs, but you can see that there's some shingles here too. This city's pretty big. It's not as big as the capital, but it is pretty. Actually, I'll say this, Saren. As you're leaving, go ahead and give me a. Give me a religion check.
Okay. An 8.
An 8. Cool. All right, cool. With an 8, you see, the various like kind of like architectural sort of stuff, and you see that it is for sure a city, and it looks to be probably smaller than Eisenheim, but definitely bigger than say Brute or even Novasol, honestly. So as you are passing by it, you feel Krakus start to kind of move in a direction downward. As you kind of see, actually, the range that you're moving across seems to start to kind of have a more like crumbling sort of formation towards the end, which tells you that you're also probably at the end of this mountain range. You are traveling most of the day. Let me just pull up the map here just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Actually, we'll say as I'm doing that, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Okay. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20? Okay. All right. You see. Okay. You see with the mountain range kind of starting to kind of come to a stopping point. You notice that there are trees, but it's a little bit more of a. It is a slightly more open field area for a little bit before we go into the space of these North Imaean woods. So as you kind of trek across, starting to kind of go in through the trees that are, again, they're pretty sparse at this point, but then they're going to be kind of become a little closer. You hear, I'm trying to think of like how, like with how far away they are, I think you hear very, very distant shouting. With a dirty 20, you look out. You don't see any. You don't see anyone, but you do see to your left that there is a very large, in comparison to the mountainside that you're at. I'd say it's about half the. Well, it's about a third of the size, which would still be. I mean, you went a mile up and you weren't even close to the top. I see a very large wall that looks to be man-made. That is the separation between North and South Imea. You can hear the shouts that are so distant you assume that it is whoever is manning that wall, who happens to see a giant just passing by. Yeah, I mean, not much to do there. We'll say as you continue venturing forward into the deep, deep woods, you hear Krakus say, "Keep the eyes open."
Oh, okay. I'll keep watch.
These trees, trees alive.
Are you sure? They look like they're just trees.
Keep eyes open.
I've seen weirder, so okay.
Cool. As you continue on, we'll say throughout the day, I'm going to say go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
19.
19. Okay, cool. You're not a particularly like you obviously you have magic. You've experienced magic in various sort of ways. Very unlike what our casters have.
Mm-hmm.
But you are familiar with the examples of magic in things that are strange and maybe unexplained from time to time. What Krakus says seems to hold a little weight here. As you're looking down, like because I'll say you're depending on where you're like kind of like holding on to Krakus, like if you're on the shoulders, right at first, you're actually like just above the canopies. So in that way, you're not really seeing anything. But I'll say occasionally you kind of just go underneath, right? So you're kind of like kind of climbing down to like where the hip area is, and just like holding on to like his like loincloth thing that he has. As you're holding on, you're like kind of like peering out. You notice that there isn't any pathways here, and it does remind you a little bit of like the journey that you took to get here. But one thing that you do notice is that it looks like there is examples of places that may or may not have had travelers going through it. Actually, I will tell you this: you do see that there is a what looks to be the remains of some sort of horse carriage that has been upturned and is kind of like broken in half. And you see there's a tree that seems to be growing right through it. The tree is full grown, and the cart itself, I mean, has not deteriorated to the point of that making sense as far as the age of like how long it takes a tree to grow. So thinking about that, you kind of climb back up and decide, yeah, it's up to you, but maybe decide that you want to stay up there for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to do during this time?
No, I think she's just gonna stay on his shoulders. She's gonna kind of wave Gerard up to see have him get up as far as he can.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, he just like cat climbs, claws kind of digging in. Krakus, I think there's at one point where like specifically like loses grip and like digs in deeper on the skin. You see Krakus kind of like and just like does like a annoyed sort of twist. But manages to hang on as he climbs back up, and both of you are kind of watching up above the canopy. As you see, it is rather beautiful up here. It's a space that you don't get to visit very often. You see you do get the you get the feeling it's a very like bright bright day. You see the sun kind of just like bearing down on all of you as you notice that the canopy floor is rather dark and shaded. So it's very pretty. You hear and see the occasional sounds of birds traveling in and out. Okay. So I would say at about this time, it takes about... I'd say you'd be traveling up until maybe... Let me see. Yeah. I don't think you would get here until nightfall. So at about nightfall, you hear the sound of water. And I'll say it's like a rushing sort of water sound. And you hear Krakus go, "Oh, good. We stay here."
Sounds good.
Tomorrow we cross Big River.
Is so the grove's across the river? Are we close?
Well, wow. One more day.
Okay.
Okay, get off. As you see him kind of like just down. As you climb down, you feel yourself kind of still underneath that same sort of. It's almost as if you made no time, like no sort of distance at all as you climb down. It looks very similar, but you hear that sound of rushing water. Do you explore?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm assuming at this point she doesn't actually really need to rest at all because she has not taken any souls today.
She has not. Yes, she has definitely not taken any souls today. You will need to rest because you've been awake. So there is that level of stuff. But as night is just starting to kind of come, we'll say that you have a kind of like a cool, very like sunset sort of. I think the sunset is just about to end, so I'd say you about maybe about like 30 minutes to explore through. But you being the fast rogue that you are, you haven't been moving at all day for, 8, maybe 10 hours. So you just take this moment to kind of like, let your legs loose a little bit, and you. I assume you bring Gerard with us. Okay, cool. And as you run out, what direction do you think you're going? Are you going towards the water, which is we'll say for the sake of brevity, that's west? Are you going north? Are you going south?
Yeah, she'll go west towards the water.
Cool, you got it. As you go towards the water, let me roll a luck roll here. Okay. As you go towards the water, are you wanting your advantage in perception or stealth? So roleplay wise, do you think you're being careful, or are you trying to see as much as you possibly can in the time that you have?
I'd say she's honestly trying to be more careful, just because of what Krakus told her about the trees.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Awesome.
She's
Go ahead and roll.
trying to hide from the trees in a forest full of trees, basically.
Yes. Very cool. Yeah, occasionally glancing over your shoulder as you're moving. You know, you're moving faster than a walk, but you're kind of staying low, just keeping your eyes open.
Mhm.
Go ahead and roll me that stealth check with advantage, please.
Okay. 31.
31. Jesus. Okay,
Jeez.
cool. With a 31, you feel pretty safe. You have the feeling that anything that well, it's tricky to say. I would say anything that has eyes certainly can't see you. But the forest is odd and weird, and you feel like as you've spent more time with Krakus kind of going through it, you recognize that there is a level of mystery to it.
Mhm.
As you're traveling towards the sound of the water, you hear the rushing actually kind of like moves as you get closer. Kind of gets more to like almost like the sound of like kind of waves coming in and out. As you get to the ocean, as you get to the shore, and you kind of like probably like buckle down to like a sort of a big, tall, grassy area. As you look out and you see this river, as he is saying, is easily 2 miles wide. Excuse me, maybe more. Uh, it is a significant expanse of water. You can see land on the other side, but it is certainly not a river by any thought of human imagination or elven imagination. This is not something that you'd be able to pass on your own. I'd say so. That's your kind of summation. As you're looking out, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Cool. The dirty 20 you see out about pretty far out, like kind of closer to. So from the direction that you're looking, if you're looking across the river, we'll say, you see kind of to your left what looks to be in the distance a large ship, probably about maybe half a mile out. You can see very large white sails. It looks like it is possibly anchored. I think with it being a half mile, you hear a sound of like uproarious laughter, which again sounds distant. Like any like human ears, we wouldn't hear this, but your senses are way up here. So you're hearing that sort of sound, but you're not able to hear any sort of defining characteristics of that. But you just note that. Anything else that you're looking for, or anything you want to do with what the information is provided?
I think she would just kind of sit on the edge of the water and she would watch that ship for, I'd say, like 45 minutes.
Okay.
Staring at it, reminiscing.
You got it. I think as you're kind of like adjusting your eyes to the setting sun as it's kind of glancing over, you see the movement on board the ship. You can see them. They're like ants, kind of like moving back and forth. What is Saren thinking about?
Saren is thinking about something that she's not thought about in a year or so, which is how she got away from Valinar on a ship with a few pirates. She's thinking about her brief love with a few people that she's yet to really tell anybody about. and how
Yeah.
she never knows if she'll really see them again, but they're kind of the reason that she is with her current group and how she got all the way to Imea.
Let's go back to that day. So, moving back, we have the sounds of the. We'll say we see Saren kind of close her eyes, and we hear the sound of the rushing waves starting to kind of come to us. Come on, buddy. There we go. As the camera kind of comes into view, we feel the kind of like rocking up and down as Saren kind of opens her eyes. Let's do this because it's been a little bit, and I think Saren probably looks a little different. Can you describe Saren to us in this memory, please?
So Saren has just freshly left home in Valinar. Her armor is like it was when the Mongoose Crew met her, but a lot cleaner, a lot less scratches. Her hair probably has some braids in it, little like maybe seashells braided into it or something. Yeah, maybe a little sunburnt from being out in the water.
Cool, awesome. As we are coming into view of this Saren sitting, probably like up against the sort of like space between two like barrels. The rest of the sound kind of comes in a space where you start to hear laughter, the sounds of clinking tankards, and you hear the sound of cutlasses that are kind of like clinging together in the distance. Saren, in this memory, do you join your fellow crewmates in the that seem to be having a good time in sort of like the standard deck, or do you go up to the upper deck where you can hear that sound of the clinging metal?
I'd say she'd go to the upper deck.
Got it. Cool. As Saren starts to kind of make her way up to the upper deck, you hear the sound of a kind of like a gentle sort of whirring sound, almost as if there's something that is being motorized, kind of moving towards you. As you turn and hear a voice kind of call out at the same time. Did Saren go by Saren during this time?
Yeah.
Okay. Master Reese, are you joining in the festivities?
Yeah.
We look and we see looks to be like some sort of automaton that has a very large rusted anchor on the back of it. As you see, there are eyes that are kind of set up into this like kind of like very wide shaped dark metal head. No neck, and seems to be kind of like clunked into a body. It only has like one arm to be able to kind of control things if it needs. But you see at the bottom there looks to be like two wheels that are slightly different, slightly misshapen from two different sides, where it actually has to continuously adjust to kind of move straight. Let's see. You know this. This automaton to be known as Cece.
Yeah, I'll be there in a moment, Cece. I'm just kind of taking in, the sounds and the ocean.
Very well. Do I need to make sure the patrons don't drink all the ale?
Just let them have their fun. I'm sure they won't drink it all. Well, maybe.
It's been my experience that often is the case halfway through most trips. But very well. You see it kind of like start to kind of turn and move over to this. You see it actually kind of like overturn because it knows it's going to have to go. It's going to have to straighten back out later as it makes its way back to it makes its way back to the crew. As far as like that racial description of the crew on board, do you have any idea as far as what you would normally see with them?
I'd say it would just be kind of a mixed match of every race and that you could possibly think of.
Cool. Do you think Cece is the only automaton on board the ship?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so I'd say you see in the distance, you can kind of see like you do see some sort of figure that it is very much sunset, just like before. You see some sort of figure that does have a like kind of like jutting jaw that is giving like a big like sort of like a roy's laughter, kind of holding his stomach. As you turn and kind of head your way up these steps to the deck. We come to the top of the stairs. And we see two people who are sparring together. Saren, could you please describe both these people?
Okay. You see Lucia. She has red hair. She has, I'd say, like a big hat that you would assume would be like a captain's hat, big feather coming out the side. She wields a scimitar, much like Saren's, only she's got one in each hand. They are not double-bladed. Big long coat on. And then opposite of her, you see Jack. He's got like short black hair, mustache, some weird little sideburns going on. No hat, just another coat. Say Lucia's got like a kind of red and black color scheme going on, and Jack would be wearing more like neutral earth tones.
Okay, cool. All right, so for the beginning of this fight that you see, who do you imagine is winning?
Definitely Lucia.
You got it. Go ahead and roll your Lucia. I'm Jack.
What am I rolling?
Say a d20. Let's keep it simple.
Okay. 12.
12, cool. With a 12, you see a flourish from Jack as he maneuvers himself in a almost in like a drunken sort of fashion in a space of trying to kind of like move his way left and then stab right. And you see Lucia fully seeing this maneuver, just parries it easily with one hand. You hear laughter coming from Lucia first, and then Jack give me one more roll.
4.
4. Okay, cool. With that, you see Jack manages to maneuver behind Lucia, kind of like has her in a very, very loose chokehold as the scimitar that she's carrying on her right hand is being pulled back in the arm. You see, they're both laughing. It is, I'd say they're probably a little drunk. One more roll, please.
8.
Okay. 8. Okay. Yeah, we're both rolling low, but I rolled a 2. So you see with this, you see Lucia pull out a dagger with her left hand, maneuver her arm out over and flip him over to the ground, and puts and just in one go kind of has that dagger sort of to his throat. As you hear her kind of laughing. Okay, all right, I win again. Puts a hand down. At this point, you see Lucia kind of looks up at you and goes, "Are you next?" He kind of picks up Jack.
And she walks over to, she sees like a bottle of rum on a table, and walks over and pours it in a glass, takes a big drink, and says, I think I'll have a go.
Okay.
And pulls out her scimitar.
Cool. You got it. You take it out. You see Jack kind of does a very low bow to you. You see him kind of like stumble a little bit on the back leg as he takes a seat to watch what is about to happen. Lucia kind of like puts the single sort of because I believe, just make sure one thing, puts her single like sort of scimitar. I'll call it a cutlass because it's the pirate sort of like version of it. Kind of like to her head, like kind of like opposite of you in a very like making light of a very like specific like martial salute of the area, and then like kind of like swishes it down and in a space of like to begin. So we'll say we won't do initiative here. This is kind of a low key sort of thing here. We'll say go ahead and roll me an attack roll.
Okay. 21.
Cool. The 21. I will say you see her kind of try to sidestep to one side as she tries to kind of like parry out your movement with you're using the double bladed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So parries out your movement as you or tries to parry your movement as you flip from one side, and then it's your call what you do here, but you do have the other side that you could easily flip up.
Yep, she'd do that.
You got it. So as you do that, just real quick, just kind of point it right to the neck. You've already won right then and there. Do you step back or do you just prove your point right there?
I think she'll step back and be like, that's 2 out of 3.
You see her kind of get the smile goes away. She is the captain of the ship, and you just made her look silly in a very quick fashion. She's going to try a little bit harder. Okay.
Oh no.
Go ahead and roll.
A nat 20.
Okay. Go ahead and roll again. We both got. We'll say in this moment, as this happens, we'll say she comes at you right as you're about to kind of come forward, and both of you kind of like the steel blades smash together in a space that actually like kind of like almost echoes out. You hear the laughing kind of die down below as you see people actually start to kind of like come up above deck to kind of watch this. This now become a real bout. As you both push back, go ahead and give me another roll.
$25.
Okay, cool. The 25, you go ahead and tell me what you do. You win that.
I think they kind of clank blades, and she backs her up all the way to a wall, and then just like holds the scimitar kind of like against the wall behind Lucia, like kind of up above her head.
Okay, cool, awesome. You see her distract you with a very quick peck on the mouth as she maneuvers out of that and is going to try to attack you from your back. So go ahead and roll one last attack.
A dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, cool. The dirty 20, you feel the flat of the blade on your back. As you, I imagine you kind of like had like maybe like a belt that was like kind of like like fastened to like some sort of petticoat or whatever, you actually feel that belt just snap as she just like cuts the belt, so the like the your like coat just kind of like starts to go flapping in the wind. And she moves back and she says, "Okay, all right. I'm way too chunk for this. Let's go below deck. Jack, you coming?" And Jack kind of looks over at Lucia, and then looks over at Saren and goes, "That's up to her."
Saren goes back over to her mug of rum, pours more in it, grabs it, and just nods to both of them.
You got it. And as most scenes do, we fade to black. Very cool. And we will actually fade to the next character. Kayla, very nice. Awesome.
Who is Saren? Who is she?
Saren is whatever show I'm watching at the time and come up with cool backstory things.
I love it.
I mean, I definitely made all of that up myself.
Yeah, I definitely make up everything that has to do with Eldrin. I don't steal it from anything.
That was beautiful. Very nice. Cool. So we come back to our friends who are deep in the underwater spaces of Honoria. Excuse me. Where are you? We'll go here. Cool. So in this moment, I will say, because Mike rolled first, Mike will say that you have the first. Sorry, excuse me. Guar will say that you have the first go here. You are alone in Zaris's office, as Zaris has
excited.
Is fully off his rocker, like running around trying to, again, a space of someone who is normally in control, not being in control. He's basically kind of given you the keys to this room, so to speak, as you were here.
Whoa.
So go ahead and give me a perception check, and then I'll give you an idea of like, I will give you kind of a choice of where you want to go.
That is a natural 11. That's a 16.
16. Cool. Awesome. So with a 16, as you are looking around, you see this is very simple. It's honestly a pretty small room. You see there is a desk itself that you see is actually extremely long. You did see the body of a Marid kind of strewn out on it at one point in time. You notice that there are at this point, as there is nothing else that is on it besides like occasional books and things like that, you notice there are some interesting sort of arcane runes and sigils that are marked into the surface of it. You see that there is a very like kind of short, maybe like only like 2 feet by 2 feet, sort of like scroll compartment area, like kind of a cubby sort of thing. Is that an adult word for that, cubby, or am I just
Let's just go with cubby. That works.
It's a cubby.
It's a cubby.
You do notice there is something. There's something that is connected to the wall that you didn't. I think you probably didn't really notice before, but is actually looks to be some sort of arcane light that can like maneuver down to be able to see a very like clear view of whatever the subject is that is on the desk. You see there is one window in this room. It's pretty simple. It's just a window. The bookshelves themselves are kind of like lining pretty much, say, half of this room. So 2 walls. You see they are... they actually have a bioluminescence growing to them. As you can see, the coral that is kind of is kind of making up the bookshelf itself seem to be very much alive. You see the occasional sort of like bright, sort of like shiny, like pink and blue light that kind of come up.
Does this coral stretch to the window to the wall?
It does not stretch from the window to the wall.
Okay, just curious.
But you do feel like an awkward bead of sweat appear as you're surveying it. Thank you. This you see on the other side of the wall, closer to the window. You notice there is it looks to be like some sort of like a display case. There's no glass in here, but nothing of note in there on first glance. You see there is it looks like there's some crystals. You see there's actually it looks like there's like a very small sort of like sea slug creature that is like kind of like nestled in there that's maneuvering up the side of like a very small rock. And that's it. Let's see. Is there anything else? Now that you are alone in this room, you start to hear this sound of like distant, very like peaceful music. It almost kind of like sounds like whale noises, but in a little bit more of a musical sort of fashion.
This is way better.
And you've never heard it before since you were here.
Wow, this is definitely better than that dolphin. I'm gonna make my way over to that light thing, the light fixture.
You got it.
And I'm gonna just kind of take a look at it, see if there's like a way I can lower it to see what it's trying to illuminate.
Yeah, pretty easy to do. It's like almost kind of like set up just like on a lever. So as you pull the lever down, you see the desk is up. Good call on that. So as the desk is illuminated, I'll say because you were doing that for a specific reason, we'll say that you automatically kind of move and tilt a portion of it that seems to be having to be tilted just right to have a display actually come out that is very similar to like almost like a black light sort of setup, where you actually see all of the arcane runes that are marked out on this desk kind of shine up brightly at you. You do not. Again, it is very like black light like. It looks like anything that is of a magical nature is reflected here. And actually, I'll say, go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
I don't think I have any pluses for that. I do not. That is a 9.
A 9, cool. You notice that the some of the runes themselves look to be like in slightly different colors. You see most of them are blue, but I see a couple there. Like you see a couple that are purple, and you see one that is like a deep green, kind of like a muted green.
So, do any of these colors like really stick out, or is it just kind of like a nice little kind of flow of the colors? Do they all seem like they fit, or is there any that stick out?
They're like ingrained into the desk itself. So say the lights themselves.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant like in terms of do any like color-wise jump out? Like in terms of do my eyes go to any of them in particular, or is it just kind of like a nice kind of like?
Sure. Yeah. Not with a 9.
Okay, fine. Do I recognize any of these runes?
Not with a 9.
Okay. I look around for something to write on.
Okay, cool. And I will say, just for further explanation on the 9, you see with a 9, you notice that you've never seen these runes really before, ever. Okay. Not really sure, like above board, not really sure how much Guar is actually looking for them. But they definitely look like, we'll say mechanically speaking, you would have to roll much higher to figure out what those are.
That's fair, but they seem important enough to be illuminated by a magic light, so I would want to at least like try to scrawl them down.
Okay.
And save.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I will say this. You can certainly do that. As you are maneuvering sort of your way through, I think you do get like kind of like the hilt of your sword happens to like kind of get under the black light itself, and you see that there is there's like a glow from the sword itself. So it does seem like this light is just kind of in a space of like recognizing magic, and in a specific sort of way. I can tell you what color your sword glows here in a second.
Cool. I would imagine Guar would note if he notices that, he's gonna go, well, there's probably all kinds of magic stuff in here, so I should shine this on other things.
Okay, it is fastened to the wall, but if you wanna
Well,
Guar it, you can.
Can I aim it? Can I aim it? Or does it only like raise up and lower?
I'll give it to you. Yeah, absolutely. I think the idea was that you had to kind of maneuver it a certain way for it to kind of actually work that way. But I also made it really easy for you to do that. So I will say, yeah, you can do that. So you managed to kind of be able to kind of push it up to a space that is actually able to reflect on the whole wall. You notice first thing you notice right out of the gate is there's actually a lot more runes that are here in the room. They're all reflected off the walls. You see there's a ton that are written around on the door. It is in a space that is it is at a level that looks a little manic, I think. Why
didn't I pay attention in rune class?
You're not a wizard by any means, so there's a lot of things here that I think naturally a warlock would look at and say, that's a lot of work. Like there's just way too much going on here.
Sure.
So I think no matter what, you're noticing that, but I'd say even more than what you would assume a wizard to be doing, as they're such nerds. This is a lot. But yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check.
This would be the moment where Guar would really miss Celeste, because at the very least, Celeste would at least, like, I don't know, just point him in the right direction. Anyway, you said perception check.
Yeah,
that's a 21.
21. You notice that there are so you're able to kind of maneuver it so that it's actually able to kind of go over the whole room. There are, you said 21, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. You notice that there's a couple books here that do have an appearance of magic as they glow brightly. I will say there's only probably maybe only like 5 or 6 in here, as yeah, I mean your magic works a very different way, so I think you're just surprised by that.
Yeah.
You kind of imagine a whole bookshelf to kind of light up with magical books.
Sure. What color did my sword light up as?
Yeah. Let me pull up. This would be your wind saber, right?
Right.
Well, okay. You see your wind saber. I call him Windjammer. Ironically, your wind saber glows a very bright pink.
Oh no.
I will like say, for the sake of not making you tear your hair out, it is a slightly different shade of pink. There's only a few colors in the world, so.
Okay. Well, as long as it's a different shade of pink. Okay. So then
yeah.
Guar would be
as a DM, I'm telling you they're not related.
Okay, thank you. So then I think Guar would take that opportunity to get Celeste out and shine the light on Celeste.
Hmm.
See if it's a different color or the same color.
You see. You don't see any color at this moment.
Man. I really want Celeste to come back. So then
it is at that moment too. Sorry, because you did roll pretty well on your perception check. It is at that moment too that you notice the display case has a couple colors that are represented.
Okay, I'm going to make my way over to that.
Okay. You notice the display case itself. There is no window or glass or anything like that is represented like kind of like on the outside of it, but it is in that kind of square shape like a display case would be. And you notice that shining the light on it, you see a very bright blue space where the glass would be. That is very see-through, but is clear. Like it almost looks like glass itself. It's giving you the idea there must be some sort of protective magic around this case itself. But that's not necessarily what interests you. What interests you is the sea slug that you're looking at in there, as it glows a very different color than the rest of anywhere else in the room. You see a very bright green.
Hey, little guy. Why are you so magical? You're very bright. Are you from down here? Or are you from somewhere else? I wonder what your deal is.
Looking at the
yeah.
slug itself, in particular, you notice it is it has a very like kind of like it has the like typical sort of like billowy sort of like sea slug look, where like the sides of it actually kind of has a where it kind of like moves almost like a dress would. And you see the antenna are kind of like moving upwards to it. But you notice that on its tail there seems to be, actually, I would like a not on its tail, but I would like a history check.
Okay.
I'm gonna make this possible for you, but really difficult.
Okay. That is a 15.
Okay, cool. The 15, you are unsure of something, but there's something about the fins that are right above the sort of face of this creature that looks odd. I don't know how much Guar has seen sea slugs before. Probably not a lot.
Probably not very
Probably
much.
Not very much. So I will say, like if I didn't specifically have you roll on this, there's no way you would have thought this was interesting. Okay. But there's something interesting about those.
Are sea slugs poisonous?
I think very.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it was like, I mean, Guar has gauntlets, so or maybe is there like anything nearby, or he could get his like a dagger out and like kind of like.
I mean, I would say like you have gauntlet. I mean, it makes, especially in Guar's perspective, it does make sense that Guar would be like, I have gauntlets. Like it's fine. It's not gonna. But it's your call.
Yeah, I mean, Guar doesn't know too much about down here, and despite Eldrin thinking to the contrary, Guar's not super dumb. So, I think he would probably get like, I don't know, a quill or some writing implement and be like, "What is that? What is that?"
Okay.
You know.
Cool.
Gently.
Yeah. You're touching like specifically the fins or just the slug in general?
But I would also try and be talking to it. I want to be like gentle. I don't want to scare it. So I just be like, "Hey, I just want to see what's going on here. These look really interesting. You're so green."
Okay. Roll me an animal handling check.
Okay. Animal handling. Okay. Oh, I have a +1. Okay, cool. Nat 20.
Okay.
Yes. 21.
Amazing. You say. Go ahead and tell me again what you're saying to it.
So the whole time I think Guar would be talking to it. It's like, oh, how are you? What are you doing in here? Wow, you're so bright. Just trying to be nice to it.
Okay.
Like, and just like, hey, I just want to see what's going on with your finny thingies here. I don't want to hurt you. I just want to see what's going on. I don't. Is it okay? Is it all right if I do this? Just like really.
You got it. The sea slug, which has been like minding its own business, kind of like trying to climb up to the rock, gets to the top as you're kind of like messing with its like fin sort of thing, and you see it turn its head and look right at you.
Oh, is that a no?
In a way that you know it's understanding you.
Okay.
With a nat 20.
Sweet. Is that a no? I don't want to hurt you. I've never seen anything like you before, and you're really cool.
Roll a persuasion check.
Yes. Get into my wheelhouse. Persuasion. That is a 17.
17? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
They 17, you see it does not seem to react. It doesn't seem to move or anything like that. It is still staring at you. It's not like... Because I will say with the nat 20 at the animal hand, it doesn't seem like it's like balking at your touch with the quill on the fins. But yeah, it's not necessarily like giving you permission or anything either. It's not talking to you anyway. It doesn't seem like it's trying to converse with you.
So you are very easily the most interesting thing in this very weird room, and so I'm just wondering, can you understand me? I mean, you're looking at me. You have very cool eyes. You remind me of a friend of mine's companion, much bigger than you, but very like has really like the eyes like to go like that, and shell, but it's like a skull. It's really scary, but like she seems really nice. Anyway, I just wanted to see what was going on here, and that's really cool. I think you can understand me. Can you? I'm talking too much. Enough about me. Enough about that. I'm Guar. It's very nice to meet you. Why are you so shiny?
No response. I will say after about a second of that, you are quite startled in the concentration that you're having on this by a very like loud poof behind you. Poof.
Ah!
Okay. So
the fuck was that?
The one to oh you're in here.
Yes.
Take this. Take this. It starts handing you books.
Okay.
Obviously, sorry. Okay.
They stacked them evenly. God.
Yep. Just if you could just read through those real quick. I will read through these as we go through it, and you see him like speed reading, like faster than you've seen like ever being humanly possible, just like reading through stuff.
Hey, what's that?
Still flipping pages. He's looking up at you. What?
What's the squishy thing in there? I talked to it and it looked at me.
The sea slug.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So why? There's something interesting about its fins. What is?
I need you to read and just let me know everything that you've learned in that book. I'm already 2 books in.
I want to learn about the sea slug.
You see at this, he puts his book down for a second, and like moves faster than a man of what is presumed age would be. Comes up to you and grabs you by the cheeks and just goes, "Listen to me. You listen here. I cannot lose this position. I cannot lose my mind. Do you understand? I need you to figure out what the hell is happening in this castle. Okay? Can you do that for me?
Yes.
Great. Lets him go. Comes back.
Ow.
No. Come on, it's here. It's somewhere.
Saurus!
Yes.
What is up with the fucking sea slug?
It's a pet. It's a pet for the office.
Is it magical? It's glowing with the magic light, and it's something up with its fins.
Of course it is. I'm a high mage. Everything in this room.
Yes, I know that, but like, tell me tell me about why is it magical?
Can you turn the magic light off, please? I'm trying to read this non-magical book about things.
I'll turn it off when you tell me about the sea slug.
Roll a persuasion check. It's a
Roll
high
initiative.
roll.
Roll initiative. I got a nat 19. Sweet. That's a 27.
27? Okay. All right, we'll see. Okay. I've been rolling like shit today.
It's because you got that 20 out of the way.
Yeah, I did. That's true. Because all right. It's an experiment. Okay, it's an experiment to see how life can be prolonged. That's all.
Did you figure it out?
Reed, I don't know. I have at least another 5, 10, 20 years maybe. But I don't, Guar. If I need to, Guar, come, he goes up to you like he's gonna pinch your cheeks again. And
Don't!
Like, you just like push out. You need to help me. You want to answer to this question? You want to answer to this question? See me in 20 years if you're able to figure out what I need to figure out. Maybe 10.
Well, I mean, if it helps prolong your life, I mean, are you like eating its slime or something?
Not mine. What? No.
Is it? Are you eating the slime? The slime that the sea slug makes.
No,
What, your slugs don't make slime? The slime, the slugs up on.
Of course they do. Of course they do. And have I tried it? Yes, of course. But no, it is not a magical.
Is it good?
Anyway, it's it's not bad.
Which book should I read first?
The one in the top.
That makes sense. Thunk.
He's now 4 books in. Okay, right here. Very simple. Just simple psychology. If you are not able to, look, get out of the way, and he just pushes the book away. Look,
It was just getting good.
If you are not able to say where you were at this time and place, then you are either A, losing your mind, or B, under a spell. See? So.
And you want to be over a spell.
Two options. Slams the book in your face. Two options. So,
good.
Do I seem like I am losing my mind?
Yes.
More than usual? Okay. So you didn't say yes to that.
I did not. But the runes all over the walls there?
Don't. And you see him like just slapping your face, like trying to like get you like. No. Listen. Just. Has to be the other, right? And I am
B.
I'm a very. It has to be B, right? Exactly. So you were. You've been in school. You've taken classes. You're knowledgeable. You know how to move your left foot forward and then your right, and sometimes you mix.
Yes, I know how to walk, Zaris. Yes, I do.
Okay,
yes.
Great. So if it is B, that is solvable, right? If it is A, that is not solvable by me. So I think it's safe for us to gotta go with B. I am a very powerful wizard. I have not been bested in many years, long before you were born or your parents. But it's possible, right? So there is something here that has convinced me that I am has either erased my memory of at a 10-second point in time. Maybe 20.
I look back over at the slug.
Eldrin said she saw me when she came in. Right? She said she heard me when she came in. Were you with her?
Yes, you said hello.
Okay. That's the thing, Guac. That's the thing. And grabs your armor one more time. Pulls in close. No, I didn't. I stop. I'm trying to tell you.
What? I can listen.
When have you heard me start a conversation with hello?
Never.
Exactly. And pushes you away. There you go. There is an imposter in the castle. So,
is there a changeling here? Is there someone using a transformation spell?
No. There are many runes that are in place in this castle to be able to kind of keep those things happening. If you were naturally a changeling, you wouldn't be able to breathe underwater. There's not a spell that makes you be able to breathe underwater and also be able to move as someone as being the
And also,
honestly,
and B, able to. I see what you did there. That was good.
Right. Yes. So, we just need to find the culprit before they escape.
Okay. What do you think their intention is by impersonating you?
I don't know. No time. Quick. To the main hall and just...
Can we bring the slug with us?
Just disappears already.
God.
On Eldred's side, Guar, are you leaving the room now at this point, or what do you want to do?
Guar would just pause and just be like, "What the just happened?"
Okay.
Rub his sore cheeks. So like, how did he reach through the helmet thing? How did he even do that? That was amazing.
Manipulated the metal like under his fingers for a second.
Yeah. Like Kitty prided his way in. So I think I just looked down at the sea slug to see if there's any like difference or any change. Probably not. But
you see, this sea slug is actually kind of like moved up, so sea slugs swim, right? But this thing is not really swimming right now. So it's actually kind of like moved up where it's like where its head and like part of its torso is up, and it just looks like it's kind of like sitting up tall to kind of look at you as well.
Do you want to come along? I don't know where to go, but do you want to hang out or?
No response.
Well, it was nice meeting you. I hope we can hang out later. Eldrin! I wish I had one of those bracelets.
You got it. Cool. So as you're in the room, we're gonna cut fast, quick, pulling out of the window of Zaris and going right back into the main hall, where we see Eldrin.
I'm still in my
and
room.
Noros. In your room. Okay, cool. So we're gonna kind of cut to the other side of the castle. So we'll go over to the other side, where we see Eldrin and Noros kind of in their room. Noros kind of like having his hands up like this, and we're starting the scene right there. Ready, go.
Yeah. So Eldrin says, "Okay, first things first. Zaris can wait. You need to go to the exit of the tunnel. I have 2 guards posted there. Generous said that he would keep them there. He wouldn't tell them why, but hopefully they either have apprehended Volmos if he came out or not. And I will go through the tunnels and look for him. Okay? That works, right? All right. I give him a kiss and I say, let's solve this.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you want me to go out the door first and go? Okay, got it. And you see him kind of leave out and just go around, or leave out and kind of like hurry out. As you go into the tunnel itself. As you go in, you immediately see there is just darkness, as normal. But I would say like anything involving this area, you're pretty like knowledgeable, and you'll have advantage on no matter what.
And I have dark vision.
Yeah, so as you go in, you kind of shut the door behind you, and you see the kind of like dim light of what looks to be like there was not a staircase that is put in here. It's just essentially kind of like just basically like a hole that is about your size to be able to kind of come in and out. It is not a complex system either. There's really only 2 ways to get in. There's only 2 doors here.
Yeah, and that's why.
But it is long.
I don't know if you remember. That's why I did. I had the guards stationed there. Okay, so Eldrin's going to use her bracelet, and send a message to Volmos and say, please tell me you just got lost or turned around.
Okay. Cool. Okay. You hear a response that says, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Where are we going again? That's all you hear.
Okay. Eldrin's going to hurry through this winding, I'm assuming, like, tunnel to try and intercept him. She's trusting the fact that at least there's going to be 3 people at the 2 guards and Noros at the end to hopefully apprehend if he comes out that way. So
yeah, I think you beat him there. I think there's also like in the space of like hijinks, it's also a quicker way to go, probably.
Yeah.
So I would say you get there and you see there is 1 guard posted, but he's there as soon as you kind of like open the door. Goes, oh, princess, I didn't know that you were in.
Did anyone else come out this way? And aren't there supposed to be 2 of you?
Yes. There's been some extra guard duty on other places, and
I don't care. Generous said that he would have 2 guards here, who decided that there would only be 1.
I do not have that information, ma'am.
Of course. Did anyone else come out of here?
No, just you, just now. I don't remember. I believe I am not at liberty to say otherwise, but it would have been earlier in the day. And then you see Volmos, not Volmos, Noros come up and goes,
You're not
points at Noros and gives you a wink. Like, that's the person who came up earlier today, but I can't say it unless I'm supposed to say it, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say it.
First of all, this is my husband, so you are allowed to talk about him. Second of all, that's not the issue.
Of course, Your Grace.
I look at Norris and I say, I don't know, he didn't come out this way. I messaged him, and I got nothing. So let me try again. This is wonderful.
Okay.
I send another message, and I say, I surmise that you are currently with someone. This is Eldrin speaking to you. Please tell me where you are.
No response. I'll say as you're doing that, you see that Noros, like, as the like sound kind of cuts out to like the point of view casting the spell, you see Noros is actually talking to the guard right now and just kind of like discussing things. And as you come out, you see Noros goes, okay, yeah, when was, looks at you awkwardly and goes, okay, yeah, right, yep, no, that was me, thank you. And kind of grabs your arm and kind of like hurries you a little bit away.
What's going on?
According to that guard, I came up here about 2 minutes ago.
Okay. I'm going to say that there is a... I'm going to say because there's like... you can tell me if there wouldn't be, but... You know like how there's like emergency things? I'm going to say there's like emergency horns everywhere. So Eldrin's going to blow a horn.
Fire alarm.
I want to blow a horn that tells like the guard to lock down all the exits.
Okay, cool. I will say you can definitely do this no matter what, but I will say this is a good time that Zara just kind of like appears and goes, okay,
I don't have time for you.
Okay, but listen. It couldn't have been me. It couldn't have been me because I can't prove if it wasn't. So
I have a dead brother that is currently wandering the halls with a fake husband. So I don't have time for you right now.
No, shh, it's fine. Listen, that's fine.
Did I blow the horn already?
Yeah, you can if you want to. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I blow the horn.
You got it. You see all of the guards kind of just come to alert. You hear a rushing of metal as they're approaching the main hall, and Zara's pays no mind to that at all. He goes, shh, listen, it doesn't matter because I didn't trust your brother or whoever that was, and I put a tracking thing in him, so we will know where he is. But the point is, the more important point is, how did they know what I looked like?
I don't know what you're saying.
Because it couldn't have been me, right? So it had to have been someone else.
What do you mean it couldn't have been
I said this to Guar a few minutes ago. I said this to Guar a few minutes ago. Do I ever say hello? Do I ever say that in conversation? And you said I said hello.
No, I don't.
I don't say that.
I don't keep track of what you say and do.
You see Noro starting to kind of like push Zaris off like a little bit, like okay, yeah. No, I understand. Okay, great. Tracking. Okay, cool, great. So that's good.
Zaris, I will help you with whatever you need. I will talk to Persona like you asked me to. But you need to tell me right now where fake Volmos, whatever he is. Because the last time he was loose, he tried to kill my father. And also, this is not how I wanted to tell my father that he was out of the dungeons and in my room. So this is wonderful. Eldrin closes her eyes and like takes a really deep breath.
Sorry, goes. Right, I understand all that. The one thing I do need to for you to say is that you're not entirely sure it was me. Go ahead and just say that to me now, if you can.
I do not know, nor do I care.
No, sorry.
If it was you.
I need to hear it. I hear it exactly the way that I said it, because otherwise, I will have trouble really being able to kind of do anything else other than just spiral.
Oh my gosh, what is it you want me to say?
You cannot be entirely sure that it was me that you saw.
I cannot be entirely sure if it was you that I saw.
Fantastic. Okay, great. To my office. And you see him just disappear out.
Is it chaos now that I'm like...
Yeah, oh yeah. You see, you see, I will say for this, you see Generous, like kind of approach. Princess, I didn't know that you were even back yet. I don't think my guards even let me know.
Yeah, there's supposed to be two here, but that's besides the point.
Right. Yes. Sorry. That is my fault.
There is a prisoner that is loose in the castle with someone who apparently can change into my husband or look like him. So we need to find said prisoner.
So above board, just to make sure 100%, because Generous doesn't know anything about like your brother. Like, no. I would say in his perspective, because there was a cave-in, your brother ran away long ago.
Yeah. Well, a couple days ago.
A couple days ago, right? Yeah.
So long ago.
So long ago. Okay, cool. So he's
Eldrin,
hearing
and
this.
Then Eldrin looks at him. Sorry, and pointedly says, "The prisoner that escaped from the dungeons did not escape. He was with me. Do you understand what I'm saying?"
Roll a persuasion check.
12.
12. Okay, cool. Yes.
The prisoner who a year and a half ago tried to kill my father?
Sure. Yep. No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Okay. Looks at you, looks at Norris. Men, it looks like we have someone who's escaped. Anyone who's looking suspicious, please
do not kill him.
Apprehend them. Do not kill them. Of course. But we need guards stationed at every possible exit here. I'll say anyone who's in the gardens, please call them in.
need
I will speak to the king.
Where's my mother?
She is taken a vacation, she called it.
What? Anrin and Navos are in the castle, correct?
Yes, of course. Would you like me to make sure that they are safe, personally?
Yes, I will go speak with my father.
Okay.
Is he in his office, or?
Yes, I believe, as far as I was told last, which would have been assumedly accurate. Yes, he should be in his office.
Wonderful. Eldrin just walks past him.
Okay, cool. Just pushes past. I think in the camera sees like Noros just being like, and just like follows after you.
Yeah.
Cool. Coming back up, Guar, you were just about to. I say the doors open and you're like just about to leave as you see Zarish just kind of like poof appears. Okay, cool. So your friend, the princess one, she's coming back up. Yes. She's coming back up. She said that she wasn't sure. She couldn't say beyond a reasonable doubt that it was me. So therefore, the result is. Come on, Guar. It's like a class that I assume that you've taken at one point.
What are you trying to say? I said that it's probably a spell.
B, right. Yes, spell. Good. So I have to, I guess we'll maybe wait on Eldrin as it's to handle her thing. And her thing...
What's her thing?
There was a prisoner that escaped, her dead brother. So if there
hang on. Whoa. The one that was in the prison?
Yeah, he is not dead per se. Assumedly. He might be dead now, who knows? But he was not dead in the time that I knew that this was happening. So
did the slug do this?
Not in so many words.
Did you use the slug to keep him alive?
We don't have time for this. So listen. So I need you to.
Eldred!
Is my way to the office on the way?
No,
like
he's on a totally different. Because remember, he's on his own tower. He's got his own little space.
But I'm very loud, though.
Yeah, he's really loud, and we're in tune.
Are you like opening the door and shouting?
I gave that book I found to Zaris already, right?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay.
But yeah, if you're opening the door and yelling, there's a possibility.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Awesome. You yell down. I will say we have given Mike so many rolls for things that is 100% what Guar is. But please roll an athletics check with advantage to see if the power of your voice can
give me a volume check. Athletics check with advantage. Okay. Okay, that wasn't good. Let's see if we can do this again. Yes, okay. It's a nat 18 for a 26.
26. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so Eldrin, you're traveling to your father's office and you hear them.
Do I know what direction it's coming from?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so I've used 1, 2. I think I still have a third one. So, I'm not going to be undignified and scream across the castle.
Of course.
So, of course.
Emergencies be damned. You're a princess after all.
So I use one of my charges and say, Guar, please meet me in my father's office. It is on the other side of the castle. Thanks. You've been there, I think.
Can I respond?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
What side of the castle? This place is fucking huge.
I will say, actually, before you respond, because it's in the midst of you grabbing the door, opening, and
Yeah.
yelling Eldrin, that you're hearing the
Okay.
message as Zaras magically slams the door shut.
Okay.
But it's in the space between the time of what
Okay.
Eldrin's responding to.
Okay,
So there's like
okay.
the pause between
Okay.
there anyways.
I
So you're hearing everything Eldrin's saying.
rescind that. Okay.
You don't understand. So we need to I need to help her to help me. I need to help her to help me. And then therefore everything will be fine. Everything will be good.
Help me help you.
Yes, so you need to help me so that I can help you in the way that we are helping Eldrin right now. So I need you to find me the book that is look, and he like kind of like adjusts the glowing lamp to say like where it is on the bookshelf. It's one of those 5 books. Can you please just grab one of those on the shelf?
What kind of weird side quest is this? You can't get it yourself?
I'm preparing the spell to be able to Can you just come on? Can you please?
I guess. I mean,
I'm a wizard, but I can't do everything.
What's the slug's name? Did you name the slug? And I walk over to the bookshelf.
The slug's name, I named it Guar.
You did not.
No, I didn't. Can you please get the book?
You sit on a throne of lies! And I pull the book down.
You pull a book down. Go ahead and roll me a d6.
Okay. A 1.
You got it. Pulled a 1. He goes. He looks like, no, and he just chucks it as hard as he can, and it like goes immediately like right back into the slot. Wrong one. The other one. It's probably glowing. It'd be like a green. It's and like he's explaining the color to you.
So I'm gonna give it back to him. I'm gonna match his energy. I'm gonna be like, is it the color of the seaweed? Is it the color of the? And I point to the blue coral, the shiny coral. Is it the color of the sea slug?
In this moment, he's still trying to like make it be a teachable moment. So like he fully can see which book it is, but he's telling you in a space of like, no, it's this one. You could, because his brain is just broken right now.
Right,
he's just fully like
because he lost 10 seconds of his life. That's why his brain is broken, right?
Oh yeah.
Can we just be clear?
Yes.
He is a high wizard.
I don't care. I've lost more than that.
This is all he has in the world. Is his brain, and it's coming apart. So yeah, he explains. And I will say, like in this moment, like you go to grab the second one. He's okay. That is it. Good. So open it to where it says there's a V and then a question mark, and then actually it says Volmos, but instead of the O, I put a question mark and the dot is the O. So
is it here?
Yep, that says Volmos. Very good. Can you just put that?
Yes, I can read.
Great. Yeah, can you put that in the center of the desk, please?
The one you're standing in front of?
Yeah, okay, fine. Yes, sorry. Was over to the side. Gives like the sea slug like a 2-finger pat.
Oh, he loves him.
Okay. Good. Okay, great. Awesome. Stand back. This is very dangerous magic. As he like kind of pushes his sleeves up. Reveal. And just points at it, and you see the pages themselves kind of like flip open. They've flip and kind of move back and forth, and that's when you actually see several of the books. I'll say an entire row upon the bookshelf. All the books themselves actually come out and like float around the entire room and start also kind of flipping through. So you see all around you these books just flipping through. Sorry, this takes 10 minutes, so we're gonna.
I'll wait.
Sometimes it takes less. I just, it can take up to 10 minutes. So you like this slug?
Yeah, it's really neat. I've never seen anything like it. I've come to enjoy most of the underwater creatures down here, except for there was one that was like a half shark. I didn't like him very much, but
yes, the one that you murdered.
In self-defense.
Sure, we've all murdered people from time to time in self-defense. I fully understand.
Oh, I've murdered people in cold blood. That was self-defense.
Yes, so have I.
Right.
During business
Zaris,
hours.
I know you're busy and I don't want to break your concentration, but when we're done with all of this, could you help me find the... So my halberd is here, but it's my packed weapon, and it's my patron is named Celeste, and I haven't seen them and felt their presence in a while. Could you help me find where they went?
So you're looking for something that you've lost in the span of magic and understanding of the world around you.
Yes, but I'm not freaking out about it. That's the difference.
Sure. I understand. Absolutely.
Yes.
Hold on 1 second. How many see?
Yeah, of course.
The bookshelf. It just grabs you a book that says "Magic for the Beginner Wizard in You." It just gives it to you.
Am I gonna multi-class again? Thank you.
It should help. Yep. You could be.
Is it in common or elvish or celestial? Can I read this?
Oh, it's the book itself actually has comprehend languages in the actual space itself, so it's whatever language that you understand it.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
Yeah. So you could be one of those Eldritch Knights or whatever.
Which ones?
What?
The Eldritch Knights? You mean like the ones with the thingies? You said Eldritch Knights.
Right.
Did you mean the ones that attacked us?
What? I don't know. Well, I haven't been with you your entire life, Qua. I don't know what you're...
I just assumed that Noros or Eldrin would have told you about some of it.
Yeah.
We were attacked by Eldritch Knights, the Knights of the White Flame. Have you heard of them? What are you looking at? Oh, the books. That's right. That is really impressive.
Thank you. What were you asking me?
The Knights of the White Flame. You said I could become an Eldritch Knight, and the only Eldritch Knights that I'm aware of are them.
Yes. You could do whatever you set your mind to.
I'm not here for inspiration. I already have some. My point is, you don't... Are you aware of them or not?
Who?
The Knights of the White Flame!
Oh, no.
Was that so hard?
A singing group or something?
I wish. No, they killed Eldrin.
Oh, that is bad.
Yes! It was very bad. We were very upset.
Yes. Shh. It's getting close. We're going to pause that scene there. We're going to come back to Eldrin and Corvus.
I knock on my father's door.
Okay.
And wait for him to... Trying to get a little bit of brownie points because of what I'm about to do. Wait for him to let me come in.
Cool. You hear... well, actually, you don't hear anything. The door opens as there's a guard that is stationed in the room. Your Eminence, your daughter has arrived. Oh, great. Eldrin. Hello, daughter.
Hello?
Come here.
Yeah, I hug him.
It's gonna take a little bit for me to get out of Zaris mode, so...
Yeah, it's okay. Come here. he just I hug him, and I come into his office, and I think Nora's probably follows behind. I think you're gonna be really mad at me, so before I say anything...
Okay.
Mother knew too, and she didn't say anything to you. So it's not just my fault. I'm sorry, Jeff. I killed you.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Yes. Please
Anyway,
continue.
so yeah, with all the laughter, I say that. And I wait a second. And I say, Which I'm told she's not here right now.
No, she is. She is. She wanted to talk to the king, possibly make peace and figure out this whole thing. So she is there now.
Oh, wait, she's on land?
Yes, since I'm assuming you heard it too. I have heard that there's other people in Nymea that have heard of this voice. It provides more justification to your claim. So, Mother decided to obviously not just hers. Obviously, I sent a whole platoon with her. But yes, she's in Eisenheim. She's safe. Just heard from her earlier today. So, what didn't she tell me?
Do you remember the prisoner that escaped? I probably shouldn't have done that.
What is this? What does that mean? What is that? Is this sea slug thing?
No, that's... Oh, gosh. Okay, I'm just
yes,
gonna come
the
out
prisoner that escaped, that tried to kill me, that looked somewhat took a very odd attempt at trying to look like your brother. Yes.
He didn't really escape so much as I took him into my room, and Mother and I determined that there's a part of him that is Volmos, and we were gonna tell you. We had a plan. Wow, I've been saying that a lot lately to you. Anyway, he disappeared. That's why I kind of rung the horn.
Oh, you did. Okay. Well,
I mean, Noros was watching him. No, it wasn't his fault. He escaped on my watch this time.
You see Noros just like...
Yeah, no. I'm saying that Norris was with him for the past day and a half, and nothing. I look at him and I say nothing was happening. Everything was normal and fine, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we just played cards and chess, and I don't know how good your brother is, but he was pretty good. Sorry. You see the king just... Roll me a d20 and add your charisma modifier. Feel free to continue the speech as you do so.
Yeah, I say, and again, I had a plan, and it wasn't supposed to be like this. I rolled a total of 17. Okay. I rolled an 18, but -1, and I say, so let's get past the part where you're upset and angry and get to the part where we figure out what to do.
You see him, as you're saying that, you see him kind of take both your hands and pull them into his chest. I get why you didn't trust me.
I missed that. My thing froze.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I get why you didn't trust me. Mistakes have been made. I am glad to know that this mistake, from my perspective, is not has not immediately put you in danger, but I need you to listen to me now. We cannot exist as a family, as a royal family of Honoria, without trust. I will honor your decisions as you honor mine. But we need to trust each other.
Aldrin just nods. I spoke to Persona, and there's a part of this man who is Volmos. Don't know what that means, but there's also a part of Volmos with Persona, and I don't know what to do with that.
We will deal with that and every other situation in time. But I need you to understand what I'm saying, daughter. We need to be on the same side on this.
And what side is that?
Trust. I realize I've broken it. You know that you have on my side as well. I'm glad you're okay. But I need to assume that we're on the same page moving forward. We will handle this together.
What do you mean by handle?
I trust your judgment. He's still clutching your hands.
Yeah. Eldrin, Eldrin says, Zara's put a tracker in him, apparently. So we can find him, and we can bring him back.
Daughter.
And what?
Eldrin, I need you to say yes to this.
To trusting you? I've always trusted you.
We need to be informed with each other. No more secrets.
Okay. Whatever you want to know. I don't understand.
Okay. Let's go to your hands. I think let's go to your hand and gives you like a big dad hug.
Okay.
Roll me an insight check.
Ah! I'm gonna use my inspiration to reroll because I rolled a 4. And this time I rolled 7.
I mean, you mentioned Persona in this, so you could definitely do guidance on this too if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, I will. So that's a 15 plus. That's 19.
Okay. Cool. With a 19, you get the feeling that you missed a conversation. A lot happened in the rift between your mother and father.
Yeah.
With a 19, you get the sense that you missed a very serious conversation.
So when he lets go of my hands, I pause for a second and I say, I feel like I'm missing something, and I need you to fill in the blanks. I don't understand what's going on right now.
I assume that we are safe in this room. So, whatever dangers the people of Hanoi are facing can wait one more minute. Norris, would you mind giving us the room?
I look at Norris and I give him a nod.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be right outside. Door shuts and your father kind of like roll me a perception check.
That would be 24.
24. Could you do me a favor and describe the because I would say the office is probably also their living quarters, right? It's up to you.
I was actually thinking that like they had different living quarters and that the office was like a separate area.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. I will say, for the sake of this conversation, is it okay that you're in the living quarters?
Yes. Yeah, that's fine.
You got it. Cool. And you imagine that your mother and father had different living quarters?
No, I don't think they did.
Okay, gotcha. So in this scene, you see. Would you roll on your perception check?
24.
24. You notice there's a couple things of your mother's that are missing in this room.
Okay.
Things that are odd to have taken on a temporary journey.
Eldrin notices that, but waits for him to say something. She doesn't know what's going on, so, well,
Sure.
she's not the one that has to say anything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, he's fumbling with words. He goes, as far as the kingdom is concerned, everything is, as normal. The king and queen still rule, but your mother's leave to defend your case is possibly extended to much more than that.
Okay.
In her words, actually, I don't think he would say this because that would feel like it would put blame on you. In her words, things have been made clear.
Well, please make them clear for me because I don't understand what you're saying.
She is still your mother.
That is, yes, biologically true and can't be untrue.
Correct. She is still, by law, queen and my wife, but she has made claims to wanting to shift that paradigm as far as the relationship is concerned.
I was gone for a day and a half. When did this happen?
Well, there's been a lot of stress on this family. I think there's decisions that I've made that were wrong. And there's a there's an understanding that is kind of opened. It is not your fault, but your marriage was for love, and a love that did not need to grow, but immediately started there. And for your mother and I, it was a space of learned growth.
Okay, well, this is asinine. You do love each other, so it shouldn't matter what is going on. You should be working on it together. Why would she just leave?
I think she saw an opportunity to, how do they say it on land?
That's just like her.
Kill two chickens with one boulder.
Of course she would.
Listen, she primarily wanted to be a part of the expedition to be able to handle this calmly without bloodshed, as things are still a little rocky here. So she did the former with your best interest in mind.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she thinks that.
I do not want you to falter.
Well, she's not here to help with this problem, so what are we going to do about this? I don't know if it's insensitive to call him Volmos, but this prisoner, this person.
I think it's in this moment that you recognize that everything that you have brought to the king has been turned down like several notches as far as his reaction goes, and that's what you're catching as like the reason why. For the situation, calling him Volmos, I think at this moment he goes, well, this Volmos cannot make it off of annoying grounds, as long as the guards are positioned where they need to be surrounding the city.
Unless he has help.
Yes, well, it's possible. Honesty, correct? So it's straight honesty. There's a possibility that calling the guards may have moved them from a post. Well, we'll see. Maybe Zaris will be of some help there. You see.
And this Eldrin pauses, and she goes, Did she tell you about Volmos? Is this what caused this rift? You don't believe her?
I think at this, once again, in a space of underwater creatures crying, in the weirdness of that, you see your father kind of just like wipe away at tears. No, she did not disclose that. Well, let's find out where our other Volmos is, and kind of like gets up to leave. Kind of puts his hand on his lap, puts his hands on his lap. Kind of gets up and moves towards the door.
Yeah, and I say as he's moving towards the door, and I'm following him, I say, I made sure Generous is taking care of Navos and Anrin personally, so they should be fine.
Good. I've never been good at multitasking. for all the children. So you see him open the door. And we're going to pause everyone there as we're going to a 10-minute break. We'll see you guys in 10 minutes. So, without further ado, let's actually just talk about it just real quick. So, for those of you who may not have seen, tomorrow we will be pushing on to episode 2 of a new series that we're very excited to release, which is our sort of like playtest for the Candela Obscura game system, but within a homebrew setting of my hometown in the North Shore, like kind of Boston area of Massachusetts. But the year is 1901. It's very, very cosmic horror-y, very, very, very exciting, at least for me. So if you're interested in that, please make sure you're here tomorrow, as we will be live streaming our second episode. So, but coming back to our Mongoose Crew thing, after a very, very heavy series of events, we are going to now go to our little halfling monk friend who is woken up. He is in his space with Cavish, as Cavish is continuously allowing Duchess to be able to kind of move freely throughout the woods. But I will say, at a certain point in time, once you, in Cavish's words, have gotten closer, you'll notice that Cavish is not having to concentrate on that spell. So last week we had Cavish concentrating on some sort of spell that's actually allowing the trees to be able to kind of move around the very large primordial crab that has a giant skull as a house. That is Milo's friend, confidant, and pet. Goes by the name of Duchess. So.
And occasional domicile.
An occasional domicile, yes, absolutely. Cool. So as you're traveling along, there's a little bit of a space here for like role play, as it is another like kind of like full day's travel. But nothing particular that you know. Actually, I will say, Milo, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Nat 20.
Okay, cool. Well, with a nat 20, just saying with where you guys are at. On the other side. Okay. Coming from you, so you guys are kind of like traveling northeast. You come across. You hear the sound of rushing water. It is still probably a ways off, but you can hear it as if it's possibly like a small waterfall. I'd say probably maybe you hear it kind of like you guys are kind of traveling. So north by northeast is probably the way you're traveling, and I would say you hear it kind of off to your right.
Okay. As we're walking, I hear the water. I like reach up and I pet Duchess and I say, "See, it's not. You hear? It's not all dry over here."
Cool. With that, Duchess, assuming that you're giving permission, just fully veers off course and starts heading towards the water.
Milo's gonna go chase her down and say, no, we gotta go this way. We gotta go this way.
You see,
and then he's gonna like holler at Cavish and Cavish, is there water where we're going?
Yes, about about 100 feet that way, which is the direction that you saw, Duchess was going.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You hear that, Duchess?
We could take a pause if you feel that any kind of motions towards Duchess. You need to.
Yeah, I think she might need a bath.
Of course. We all use the bathroom. And kind of moves with you kind of off course a little bit. Which means you're just going to get there just later, I think.
Mhm.
So you take about a half hour to an hour, I assume. It's up
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, let's call it a short rest. We
You got it.
just kind of
So
chill out for a minute.
you got it. So as you see Duchess fully, you do indeed see a waterfall. The river itself is it's rather large. I would say it's probably about maybe like a. I'm using a lot of terms in miles, so I'm going to stop doing that. But I'm going to say it's probably about maybe 400, maybe 500 feet distance. So it's pretty big, but it does seem like it's actually relatively uh, shallow. So you see Duchess kind of like clambers in, only kind of goes up to like maybe half a claw, and then decides to kind of like climb under to like where the waterfall is, and just kind of like puts like does the whole like kind of like slow motion happens as Duchess is just throwing the eye stalks back, and tentacles are kind of just moving all around. No one's there to be attracted by this moment, but it is slow motion regardless.
If you're a primordial crab, it is hot.
It is hot. It is too hot even. In the primordial channels, they have to censor it. So dumb.
Nope.
You do see in this moment, you hear kind of a distant sort of like and you see kind of like Cavish kind of like perk himself up as he is bathing himself around water that is just bubbling all around him. Interesting. It is not a familiar sound. It continues to like kind of like just clears up like.
Milo, does Milo recognize the sound as?
I don't think so. I mean, I will say like the waterfall itself is probably maybe like 10 feet tall. So you feel like there's a good chance that whatever, and I would say whatever's happening is happening a little bit further up north. So there's a good chance that you're just missing something up there.
Okay. Does it sound alarming or?
Yeah, I'd say it sounds pretty alarming. It's pretty. I mean, it's ground shaking.
Oh, that was Milo asking Cavish. I'm sorry.
Oh,
it's same voice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Depends on your definition. I usually like to do things one at a time. Sorry, guys. I'm doing a lot of deep voices, and they're all just kind of swimming together. So.
And they're all in the water.
I mean, like I said, like Milo, you could climb up. It's actually relatively easy to probably climb up and do this. So for you.
Okay. As Duchess is bathing in her shower, Milo's gonna climb up next to her and like just get to the top of the waterfall and see what's coming.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, climbing inside the like eye hole of the skull and then like climbing out the nose as you're kind of like pulling yourself up to the top, which is just way above the 10 feet. Because I think we said she's either 20 or 25 feet tall. You especially with the nat 20, which you're carrying for the rest of this, we'll say for this session as far as perception goes. You clearly see in the distance, it looks like there is a giant house with chicken legs that is walking by about maybe a full mile off.
Yeah, Milo's gonna shout down to Cavish and say, "It's not alarming. I know that house," and he's gonna just take off running straight for it.
Okay. It's a ways away. You got
Yeah,
it.
he hasn't
Cool.
seen a friendly face other than Riley, and she was going through some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll say you go taking off running. I will say Milo runs super fast. So we'll say it takes about a good solid 10 minutes of running. Just like nonstop for you to kind of be able to catch up to this house. But we'll say you get you kind of like rushing your way through the trees and everything. Actually, I will say go ahead and roll me a survival check. Go ahead and roll me with advantage. We'll say.
Thank you for the advantage, because the first roll was a 3. So it was 19.
19. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so you're like rushing along. You're hearing the sounds of the occasional and you're just kind of like following that until you get to a point where you are running up and you can see the house itself on its weird sort of foul legs as it is maneuvering at this point. I don't know if you've necessarily seen it this high. It is like in its full extent. You're not sure if it's like trying to look around or what, but it is about 50 feet high from its base.
Milo's gonna through his panting, just Broomhilda, Broomhilda.
You see the house stop,
It's Milo.
turn around, full on just like bends down to you, and as it bends down you can hear the sounds of like crashing like things inside of it, as there are some things that are probably loose and they're like books and whatever, as it bends down to like seemingly as if it's like looking at you from its front facing sort of thing. It just recognizes you and then puts the feet down. You see a door kind of just open.
Yeah, he's gonna go in.
Okay, cool. You go in. You've been in here before, so it's somewhat the same. But go ahead and roll me a perception check. I'll say with advantage because you've been here before.
21.
21. With a 21, you see a lot of things are disheveled here. There's some like books that are kind of off the shelves. Some of them have magically, and I say magically as in the like amazingly, have like managed to like kind of stay on the bookshelf itself. But there is a lot of things that are kind of scattered here. You also notice that there are claw marks on the floorboards.
Hmm.
I will also say you do not see Broomhilda. So you're on the first floor right now, kind of looking around.
Seeing the claw marks on the floorboard.
Sorry, Evan, I just saw this. But thanks, man. Appreciate you. You guys know we get those now. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Milo's gonna look a little bit closer at them, like investigate them a little bit and see if he can discern what they were made by, or
Sure, absolutely.
who, if
Roll me
these
an
are
investigation check.
remnants of Guar and Broomhilda's fun together.
It's on the first floor, but I mean, I get it.
Love knows no bounds.
Love knows no bounds.
It was a 14.
Amazing. The 14. So here's what you can tell the 14. They look to be humanoid. They do not seem to match Broomhilda or Guar's description. They look to be. I will say at a certain point, you did see this. It looks like they're like kind of like scratching in a downward motion towards the southern end of the house. And I will say with that roll, you do notice that this house has a tendency to kind of move back and forth in the space there. So you get the idea there's a possibility that there was something that was here that the house maneuvered backwards at some point, and it like kind of like scratched down as it was trying to grab it. But it seems humanoid and small. I would say honestly probably about your size.
Okay, Milo's gonna because he doesn't know how this works. Milo's going to like pet the floorboards and say, I hope you're okay, house," and walk up the steps.
Okay, cool. Walking up these steps, you see there is a there you see the normal bed. You see there's a nightstand on the side, and you see there is there's another bookshelf. There's also a piece of equipment that you're relatively unfamiliar with. But I will say it looks like it is something that has been recently there since you've last seen the house, because I don't think you've been. The last time you've been in Broomhilda's house was right after the hanging,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You notice that there is a. I'll say go ahead and roll me another. This would be worth a separate investigation check for this. It's a straight roll.
16.
16? Okay, yeah, not bad. You're not really sure what this thing is, but it looks like it's something that is designed in a space of like an archaic sort of form of a telescope, and is pointed out the window upwards.
Milo's gonna try and look through it.
Okay. Looking through it, you just see a giant leaf.
That makes sense. And then he's I'm assuming so Milo is going to take this as like Broomhilda's not here, the house is looking for Broomhilda. So he's gonna he's gonna kind of tidy up a little bit, like try and make it look a little better than he found it, and then as he and kind of, I mean, he's gonna look at the things he's putting away because it's Broomhilda and she's crazy magical and he doesn't understand any of it anyway. And as he's walking out the door, he's just gonna kind of try and put things where he thinks they should be.
Okay, you got it. I'll say, like, starting on the second floor, you notice one thing I want to say is there's also a footlocker at the end of the bed, because there isn't, in my head, there's no bureau. I think Broomhilda just has everything in just a footlocker, but it is locked. But you also see on the nightstand, yeah, we'll put it this way. With that investigation check, because you rolled both of them and they're actually both pretty good. With that investigation check, you notice that there is what looks to be like there's a lot that's happened in the span of time from Broomhilda not being here. Obviously, there's not been a ton of time, but it looks like, I mean, like looking at the house too, the house looks like it has been like just like traversing the woods for the past, 2 or 3 days. It has managed to procure a good amount of dust from the windows themselves coming in. But you notice specifically, because I'm going to just give this to you on what your rolls have been so far. You notice specifically on the nightstand, there is a space that is a rectangle sized space that does not have any dust on it on the end table.
So there was a small person or a large squirrel that was interested in this rectangle. Yeah, I think Milo's going to, because as the house looked down, like things were flying off the walls, and Milo's gonna look towards like that side of the house to see if there's anything that looks like it would fit in that space.
Okay.
In that room.
All right. I think you spend the next like 20 minutes to 20 minutes kind of like trying to do that, and I will say in the space of what will eventually be Cavish and Duchess like kind of like catching up to you, so you can hear the like familiar like the other sound of Duchess approaching. You try pretty much the last book that's in here, and you can still see it does not quite fit.
Yeah, so Milo doesn't have much to go on. He's gonna look around. He has several he's used sending stones before. He's used Eldrin's bracelets. He's gonna look around and try and find anything that seems like seems like it would be a sending spell or something magical like that.
Okay,
cool. That would help him communicate.
I'm gonna have you do two things. One, I'm gonna have you roll a d20 and add your charisma modifier, and then I'm gonna have you roll a separate investigation check.
All right, the d20 with the charisma modifier was a nat 20 for 21. Okay. And you said investigation.
Mm-hmm.
That was a 9, which seems like the weirdest one to be, really, though.
I love it. So the 9, you're kind of like looking around trying to see if there's any sort of magical device that might be able to kind of help you out in this moment, and you don't see anything. You actually hear Cavish's voice kind of call out from down below, just a I can keep going. I just wanted to make sure you were safe.
Yeah, I'm safe. I'm looking for I know the owner, or I know the person who stays in this house. I don't want to call it an owner, and he pats the floorboards again.
You're killing it.
And Milo says, it seems like it's looking for her too. I'm just trying to find some way to send a message, see if I can talk to her.
Okay, cool. You hear? I'll say you kind of like go. Do you like go to the first floor and are like peeking out the door to like explain to Cavish this?
Yeah.
You got it. Okay. So as you do that, you hear the sound of like rummaging, as if I'll just tell you straight up. It sounds like there's drawers that are opening and closing over and over again.
Okay.
Up on the second floor.
Okay. Milo's gonna grab quarterstaff out. I'm gonna say 1 second and run upstairs to see see what's moving the drawers.
Outside from the narrator's perspective, you just see Cavish just like calmly sit against a tree trunk and just wait. He's got nowhere to be. As you go upstairs, the first thing you notice that is the sound immediately stops. And you notice that the nightstand itself on the side, the drawer below it is open.
Yeah, Milo's gonna look in and see what's in there.
Okay. You see there looks to be a very small book. It looks to be like a little thin that has like it's bound by leather. Actually, yeah, it's bound by leather, and looks like there has a you can see it. There's like a bookmark, like kind of like ribbon, but it is not. It is taken out of it. It does not look like it's in any sort of.
It's not holding a spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Milo's going. He's gonna say out loud. Uh, I nor I normally wouldn't look in my friend's nightstand or grab anything out of it, especially, but it seems extenuating circumstances. So so as he's saying that, he's grabbing it and he's gonna open it.
Cool. I think you get the feeling that like the house opened the drawer, so
Yeah.
there's a welcoming sort of feeling of having that.
Jamie knows
Okay.
that, but Milo is also thinking that the house is listening to him, so he's
I
like on
mean,
his best behavior.
I'll tell you, above board, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you see a. Sorry, I'm sorry. What were you doing again? You were taking the book out.
Yeah, he's opening the book.
Okay. You look at the book, and as you were, because I'm going to tell Milo this, because I'm not sure what Milo's going to do. Milo, as you're opening this, you look at the first page and immediately tell this is a journal.
Hmm.
You can keep reading if you want. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, it seems important for him to read this, and Milo's going to assume that Broomhilda can take his memories away if she needs to.
Okay. Nice. Cool. 1 second. Oh, it wouldn't be there. I mean, it was so... Sorry, you didn't hear that. There it is. Okay. Okay. So looking at the first page, you see a bewildered Broomhilda. It is perfect handwriting, very scrolly, kind of like very elvish sort of thing, but without imperfections. You see the first page is Broomhilda full on complaining about the idea of even writing in you. But then also at the same time introduces herself to the book as if it is someone
Being.
to talk to. I'll say, I mean, that's what you get on the first page. It's just basically just a kind of like an introduction sort of thing to that. No check required. Do you continue?
Yeah, Milo's gonna carry on.
Okay, cool.
Is there anything before Milo carries on? He's gonna look. Is there anything else in this drawer?
No, there's not a single other thing in this drawer.
Then yeah, Milo's gonna carry on.
You get the feeling, actually, I'm just gonna tell you straight up that like this is normally locked in here, but it also fits exactly the same space as the
the space
as
on
the lack of dust space on the top.
Okay.
Which gives you the feeling that, I mean, looking back, Broomhilda didn't think that
she'd be back.
She would not be back here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, continuing to read forward through it, you read a lot of what looks to be.
How old does she introduce herself to be when she starts this?
This is where I would like an insight check, actually.
Okay. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. She cool. The dirty 20, you reading the handwriting, and I will say probably maybe like on the third page, you start to kind of see the explanation on why she's originally done this. She has found a way to stop herself from physically aging. So at this moment, she is in her 20s, but she is not aging past this. So her concern, as she explains in her diary, is that I may lose memories because I don't know. I will forget how old I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say further on down the line, you'll notice as you flip through, you see the dates are like dates have stopped coming in.
Mm-hmm.
As there are like sometimes where like the writing becomes a little more like feverish, and you also see like in a general sort of look in this book, you see that there is a lot of very deep seated, heavy sort of emotional. I don't even want to say writings, really markings. What the words are saying is not important. It's what you're seeing is how hard she's pressing on the page. You're seeing the words that she's using to describe things like her father.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, you get to the point where you read from where I will say, probably at a certain point you like start to kind of like flip through to like see where like, okay, cool, where do I come in?
Yeah.
And you notice that you're having to do a lot of flipping, a lot, like 200 pages worth at least, like 200 maybe 300 pages. And she's clearly not writing every day. So eventually she kind of gets to, and I guess that's not a lot, so we'll say 500 because in my head I'm thinking it's a lot. Whatever a number is a lot. That's I obviously
Big
don't
number.
journal. You guys can tell. Which is weird. So you can tell like immediately this is a magical journal. Like it's not, it still looks short like a journal, but it's not. It's clearly not as big as it should look. You notice at a certain
bigger
point
on
you
the
see
inside.
it's bigger on the inside. You see in a certain point you catch the word Wilbur on there, and you start to read of the idea of like I have to try and find Cerilius's creation. The I have the first one. I have the second one. The first one is missing, and to find the first one, I have to go and find the third one. So then there is the day that you see her writing, which is the next entry you see is I found the wombat. Explains general of the idea of like the amount of people, like the things about the people that she's noticed in the group, and then you see Guar's name, and you see it is written in a space of it has taken up the most amount of space in referencing how annoyed and how angry this being has made her in the space of his pure existence. The idea that he has made it this far as a human being or a half elf or whatever the hell he is mind-boggling. Given his ancestry, I'm sure that's what's made him not that's what's made him live past his teens. But given how much he has annoyed me in the past few days, I imagine that my will be tested in this way.
No.
Exactly, and it's at this moment that you feel.
What's it say about Milo?
You see, yeah, I will say it does say something about Milo because the interesting thing is when you see written is there's a small halfling of seemingly no consequence. I had to actually ask him several times what his name was. Further upon seeing the things that he can do, and this will probably be like a sort of I will say I think the first meeting you're not mentioned, so it's like the second or third where he's like seeing what this very small and again seemingly insignificant being is capable of makes me question the abilities of halfling will, and at what lengths is it truly able to go.
As it should.
Yes. And it's at that point that you feel a shake from the house. And you hear Cavish outside just yelling out if everything's okay.
Yeah, seems to be. I'm not.
You feel
I
that
don't.
you see the drawer slam shut and open again.
Okay. I don't speak house, but I think it's ready for me to leave. Um, Milo's going to look at the very last entry
Okay.
bef- before he heads out.
The last entry, I think the reason why you find it on the nightstand instead of locked away in a drawer is a single sentence. I don't think I have the need for you anymore.
Hmm.
That's it.
It's ominous. Uh, um, Milo's going to take out his quill,
Okay.
and write on the very next page, "Milo was here," and put it in the drawer.
You rolled a nat 20. Go for it. You rolled a nat 20 in the house. I'm not going to stop you. That's amazing. Cool. Close it and put it back in the drawer. Good. You
And
also
then Milo.
notice that at that moment, as you close it back in the drawer and you put it back in the space of where it needs to be, you hear like a little tiny lock happening there, and you hear something else unlock as you turn back around and you see at the foot locker that is at the foot of the bed has unlocked.
Oh. Yeah, Milo's gonna stand in front of the footlocker and say, I can look in here now? Or I need to look in here now?
No response.
Alright. Take your silence as complacence. And he opens it.
You open it, you notice there's some clothes here, there's some some general sort of books that look to be even older than the books that are on the shelf. They look to be just really large tomes that I think, in all honesty, I just don't think interest Milo whatsoever. I imagine they're just in a language that you don't understand. You do, however, see two things in this book, in this footlocker. One is you see what looks to be I'll say a bundle of scrolls. You see that there's actually a rope that's kind of tied around all of them. That specifically catches your eye, and there's something else that's at the bottom, and it's actually being covered by another piece of I'll say another book, but it's like a paperback sort of book that is covering up most of it. But you happen to notice, especially in the light of this day, you see just kind of a tiny glint of red.
Okay. Yeah, Milo's going to uncover the last thing at the bottom of the footlocker.
Cool. Go ahead and roll me a history check.
Man, 6.
6. Cool. You see there is looks to be some sort of stone, and it's kind of jagged. It's in a space where it almost looks like it's been broken off something. But it is a very dark, deep red. You notice that there is there's something inside that seems to be has a little bit of a glittering, maybe a silvery sort of substance. It looks familiar to you, but you're not entirely sure what it is.
Sorry, my headphone died.
Very good.
I got glittering substance, and then I lost you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you see inside. So inside this deep red stone, you see this glittery. Can you not hear me now? Okay, you're good.
All right, now I can hear you.
You got it. So you see inside this stone is this. It's definitely more silvery than glittery, but you see there's this substance that seems to kind of just be moving in and around it inside. and it looks familiar to you, but you're not really sure where to place it.
Milo's gonna hold it and say, Broomhilda, can you hear me?
No response. I will say when you pick it up, though. I didn't even think of this. When you pick it up, you feel you put it to your ear and like try to be like, you know, like, or like to your mouth and be like, Broomhilda, can you hear me? And it you're like waiting a second, no response. And as you pull it away, you see that the hand that you're pulling away from is a full werewolf paw.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that.
Fair.
Yeah. He's gonna take a moment and turn to the pile of scrolls. These look like the spell, like, I mean, they're scrolls, so
They look like spell scrolls. Yes.
Like spell scrolls. Okay, yeah.
And also, you see, there's like I'll give you roll me a d6.
Okay. That's the square one. Is a 5.
5, cool. Yeah, you see 5 scrolls that are kind of just wrapped together.
Milo's gonna. Are they marked on the outside at all? I have to.
No. I mean, I say if you want to know what they are, we can just kind of skip forward to that.
Yeah, yeah. Milo's probably gonna unroll them and just see what they.
Cool. Yeah, I think for Milo, you. I think it's going to make sense that most of these scrolls you cannot read. But one of them has been written in. One of them looks like to be in a little bit of a different style of handwriting, and it looks to be very kind of wavy and open. But also there's translations on this one, like on the scroll itself. So there's a parentheses and in common what it is, but it's only this one. You see, it is a scroll of sending.
Oh, sweet. No, Milo's impulsive. I'm trying to stop Milo from. Milo's going to. Yeah, Milo's going to read the scroll, do the spell, and aim at talking to Broomhilda.
Broomhilda?
Yeah.
Okay. You got it.
He's in her house. He's got to let her know. You
got it.
He hates us.
So I'm going to tell you straight up the mechanics of how this works. You need to roll a 13 because sending is a 3rd level spell, so it's 10 plus the level of the spell. Arcana check.
Okay. That was a 12.
Cool. Oh.
He reads it harder.
Okay. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
So as you read the contents of the spell and you say the formulated sort of markings of it's written in phonetically too, of how to be able to say the spell itself. You read the spell, you kind of close your eyes, you see the spell disappears. For a second, you think that the spell works. What do you say to Broomhilda?
And this is 20 words, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is it 20 or 25?
I don't know.
25.
25? Okay. So yeah, Milo's going to say, Broomhilda, found your house. Can't find anyone else. Are you okay? Okay. It's really hard not to count syllables.
Is that Jamie saying that or Milo saying that?
Jamie.
Okay.
Looks like you had a visitor. Also, I read your journal.
Okay. You are not sure whether or not that worked.
Okay.
But you do see the letters disappear from the paper.
Yeah. Milo wouldn't know if they. Well, yeah, he would, because we used a scroll to bring Eldrin back. The Jamie doesn't remember, but would Milo remember if the letters come back? Would he ever have known that or noticed it?
They don't.
They don't. Okay.
Rules is written. They do not come back as soon as you use a scroll. It is only temporary.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. Milo, operating under the pretense he's going to see Broomhilda again, tucks the stone in his bag.
Okay.
And leaves the scrolls.
Okay.
And and makes his way downstairs.
You got it. So as you make your way downstairs, you hear the kind of click behind you as the footlocker kind of closes shut, or locks shut, excuse me. You hear Cavish. You hear Cavish outside trying to talk to Duchess in a myriad of languages to see what works, but to no avail. Ready to go?
Yeah, sorry that took so long. I don't speak House, and it takes a while.
That's okay. I don't speak Duchess, apparently.
She seems to be okay with Common.
Oh.
Did you try... was it... not Primordial?
Yeah, Primordial.
Yeah, Primordial.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've only been taught that in the Ornan dialect for Aarakocra and the like. I don't know if it would.
Fair. Yeah, Milo introduces Duchess to Broomhilda's house. Broomhilda's house, Duchess, Broomhilda's house. You are the giant.
That's amazing. I want someone animate that. That's so great. Yeah, I mean, you rolled a nat 20 in the house, so like you see the house kind of just like bow to Duchess, and Duchess kind of just like Duchess bows back. Duchess like noticeably confused. But yeah. So you venture forth?
Yeah, I think before he leaves, he's gonna rub the house's leg and say, I'm gonna do my best to find Broomhilda. Keep looking.
You got it. You immediately see the other leg kind of like stamp on the ground really fast and like kick up dust everywhere. And you see it kind of just ventures off. Just... Okay. As you travel with Cavish, we'll speed off to the rest of it. The rest of it, you go until nightfall.
Yeah, we do.
And you go a little bit past the. What'd you say?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you do. And then you go to camp. No, you. I meant you head to camp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ruined it. You go to. You go to. Where are you? Where'd you go? Sorry, I can see you. I'm just trying to find something.
You have the map.
Do I though? There you are. Okay, cool. You head in further down the path, and you see it is now nighttime. It is not, and for the record, it is not like sunset. It is nighttime. There's a space where you're actually starting to kind of get a little bit worried as you start to hear sounds from the woods themselves that don't sound woods like at all. Like weird sort of like sort of like grumbling sort of sounds. You can hear these sounds of like popping sludge from distant sort of areas. You continue to go forth. To appease you, I think you see Cabbage kind of like light a fighter in his hand, so you can kind of see at least like a little bit out ahead of you. And then eventually,
Milo's gonna say, if it's easier for you, and he pulls down his goggles. I can see fine.
Cool, awesome. The goggles only allow night to become dim. So just for the record, like light would still help here. But yes, absolutely. Yeah, you take the goggles, you kind of put them on. You say, okay, do you want me to put it out? So putting out would just mean it's going to be dim light.
Yeah,
so so around him you would have normal light.
Yeah.
So it's up to you.
Yeah, with his hand lit and the goggles on, Milo's going to say, actually, no, it's kind of nice.
Cool. Awesome. You head out, you notice that the temperature just feels a little bit cooler. You hear the sound of like a distant sort of frog, and then eventually you hear a female voice call out and go, "Hi, who goes there? Friend or foe?" You hear Cavish immediately call out, "Basil, it's me. It's Cavish. I have a friend." You see a female form come forward. Looks to be elven, probably like most likely like a wood elf. You see blonde hair that's kind of like just that goes straight down. You see that she has a bow that she is fully lowered. She's actually like putting the quiver immediately away. Hi, Cavish. It's been a minute. It's good to see you again, and a new friend. Oh, halfling. Hello. My name is Basil. Welcome to the family.
Can you describe her again? My internet cut out right as you started.
Yeah, I would say you notice. So it's a wood elf, like blonde hair, rather tall, kind of skinny. You see that she's holding a bow that she's kind of just pointing to the ground, and is already kind of like notching putting the arrow back in her quiver. You notice that she is she is an elf, so she is like elvenly attractive, but that's about it. She seems very nice to you as she says like. Are you a North Imaean halfling?
Yeah, Brente is in North Imea, right?
No, it is not.
No,
it's in South Imea.
Oh, I'm sorry,
guys. Just kidding.
Hello, man. Hello, things.
Don't you know your continent?
No.
You live
He
in
doesn't
the
even know
country
his
of
last
Ohio.
name. He doesn't even know his last name.
All right.
Cool. So Milo,
Milo's gonna say South Imaean actually. From Brute.
Okay, great. Well, we have people from all over. So we have a couple of South Imaeans here. Who knows? Maybe you'll know them. You see Cavish at this moment go, Milo, if it's okay, I have to be meeting with the elders. If it's okay to leave you in Basil's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we'll be Fast friends.
Fantastic. Puts kind of like a hand on your shoulder and just like kind of like gives it a quick squeeze, and you feel that warm sort of sensation as he kind of walks off into the night. You see Bastille goes, sorry, is you also have a friend?
Oh yeah, this is well, I guess she's Duchess. She's
Duchess, nice
very
to meet
sweet.
you.
I recognize she's very large.
Yes, the only reason why I mentioned is that to be able to venture forth into the, as we call it, the city above the ground. It's a little thing we do. Unfortunately, she will not be able to join us unless she can get a wee bit smaller.
Duchess, she can't shrink. She can't shrink.
You see Duchess like kind of like put her head in the giant skull.
Yeah, she can't shrink. Do you have a body of water nearby?
I do not have one this evening. There are, as you can imagine, quite an amount of druids that are here, so I'm sure they could probably figure out something for the morning, if that's okay.
That should be fine. Is that we'll find something for you in the morning. And Milo says, "Yeah, if we have a body of water, any sort of pond, lake, or whatever, Duchess will be happy."
Absolutely. To be honest with you, I mean, as far as natural body of water, it'd be kind of a, well, it would kind of defeat the purpose
I don't know if
to
a
be able
well
to be
would
out
work.
in the
It's
open.
probably too small.
Yes, we also do not have a well. We'll figure it out in the morning. But if you're ready and you see her, like, you see a rope just drop down in front of her, and she just kind of grabs it and just kind of puts a hand on it.
Yeah, Milo's gonna grab her hand and say, "Duchess, I'll be back."
2 tugs, you go flying up into the canopy of what you did not know were these larger groups of trees that were significantly taller. You're talking more in the range of like 200 to 300 feet. Like these are redwoods, like giant trees. I am speeding along with this because I want to kind of get to this point. But as you get to the top, you start to see that a myriad of different creatures of all different types of species and races and what have you. A lot of them look to be like maybe a little downtrodden, but they look to be actually relatively happy. You get the feeling of like this being like very much like a runaway camp,
Like Lost Boys vibes.
kind of Lost Boys, but not in the sense that like everyone's a kid. Like it's just It's really just a space of like for those who feel lost sort of thing. And I will say, go ahead and roll me an insight check, and then go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Insight was 16. Perception was 18.
18. Okay, cool. With an 18, I'm going to give you your choice, 1 or 2.
Let's go 2.
You got it. Cool. With the as Basile is kind of like guiding you along, kind of showing you the idea of like kind of the ins and outs of the place as it is dark. And she goes, "I realized this would be much easier to see in the morning, but there's a couple of things that are kind of a necessity around here. So I'm just going to kind of show you that's the place to be able to kind of get back down to the ground, which obviously you could do so at any point in time, unless you can fly. Can you fly?
Not well.
Understood. Was that a joke? That was a joke. Sorry, I'm getting my sense of humor is not it's not an elven trait, unfortunately. So, but I
have a friend that's the same way. It's fine. I'm used to it.
If you don't mind, I'm trying to kind of work on it. And I'm trying to provide. I'm trying to like get into like the natural sort of laughter. If I can try that on you,
sure.
Can we try that again? Do you fly?
Not well.
How was that?
That was good. It was a little caliber of the joke wasn't. It felt like you were laughing a little harder than the joke warranted, but it was good. If you found it funny, that's great.
Okay, good to know. Do you mind if I just you see her take out like a little book? All right. Content is important. Okay. Got it. Just kind of puts it away. Sorry. Let's continue forward. And she kind of shows you like some like normal sort of things of like the idea of like where the facilities would be. You notice that a lot of the places here they're like kind of built in this like sort of weird sort of like treehouse like apartments, where there's like, but it's like the office of like what they would specifically be doing for the community is up front, and then there's like rope ladders or stairs or something that's actually pushing further up top where you can see that there's actually probably like a bedroom or what have you.
Okay.
And she's you see at a certain point she's explaining, she goes, so we're a little tight on spaces, but I think this one's open. So yeah, you see her kind of like push under the sort of flap. Okay, yeah, I don't I'm like 90% sure this is good. And she kind of like ventures you forth, and you see a nice little sort of like open sort of area. You see that there is a table right underneath. You see most of the floor underneath you is wood, but like very open sort of space. So I think your halfling feet, well, actually your halfling feet are actually much bigger than normal feet, so they're actually fine in this. But the boards themselves are very loosely based, so you're finding yourself kind of like a little tricky to kind of find your footing. Actually, I would say this because you're a halfling and that's no problem for you. Anyone else you would notice would have a hard time. Yeah, you see there's just a kind of an open space where the sort of like shop or whatever whatever system you see people would be doing in, and you've passed by a couple of them. You see that there is actually like it looks like there's someone who is a smithy, who's just kind of like breaking down their shop as you were coming in. You see there's someone who is like a very an older woman with an extremely long nose that kind of just goes past her chin. You see like tufts of hair kind of coming out in random spots. It's hard to tell in the light that you don't really have, but she's rather like she's human size, but she almost looks like she might be like a little bit bigger. So she's actually like working on a loom, and she's like just muttering to herself as she's doing it. So you can see there's several things that are happening here. Most of them are designed towards the idea of function over fashion. But as you get to this space, you see there's nothing in this same sort of style sort of room, but there's nothing in it except for a table that's in the middle, which would make you assume that there's no one else that's here. Okay, great. Well, let me show you to your bed. Hopefully it's big enough. Okay, great. So it's a small laugh on that one. Good, got it. Okay, thank you. And you start to kind of climb the awkward sort of like it's a like bridge, but it's going straight up, or not straight up, but it's going like at an awkward angle. And you see it kind of coming up. So at this point, so your insight check was a what?
14.
14? Cool.
No, 16. I got an 18 on the other one. Yeah.
Okay, 16 and then 18 in perception. So for 16 on that, you get the idea of like this is like I said, this is a like very much like a runaway camp, a space of like, do you feel like you're lost? Do you feel like you're not really fitting in anywhere? Here's a place that will accept you no matter what, as long as you're pitching in. You have no concept of how big this place is, as it is in the middle of the night. But the idea that I think that Cavish kind of gives a thumbs up on it is probably helpful in that. That you feel like this must be this must be on the up for sure. With your perception check, you hear shallow breathing about three quarters of the way up from the kind of rope bridge that you're at. Your elven friend does not seem to notice that at all, and she just kind of like keeps going. Okay, so
are you sure this space is unoccupied?
Oh yeah, no. Oh shoot. And you see her. She does kind of walk in, like further into the room, and you hear the sound of like a curtain being pulled. She goes, Oh gosh. Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You hear the like kind of like shallow breathing, the heavy sort of like um and you see her kind of like come back and just go, I'm so sorry. That is uh he's not able to help out, so we don't normally see anything in this. But he's also not been feeling well since he's been here. We actually thought he was dead when we found him, but turns out he's hard to kill. Actually, I did see that he had a coin that looked like I had a like a little like sort of a space in it with like a what looked to be like some sort of like king in the middle, and it says like it said like the king in his like carts or something.
King in his courts.
Yes, yes. So I believe he's one of the Southend mains. If you wanted to,
Yeah, Milo's gonna walk in and go through the curtain.
okay, cool. As you walk up, you hear the sound of the shallow breathing, and I would say with that you're probably not recognizing that sound.
Mhm.
Um, you come closer, and I think in this moment there's a space for where Milo is harkened back to the nightmare he had
Mm-hmm.
of remembering things. Well, I'll say I think you see Aesop in your mind just going, and then what happened?
Mm-hmm.
You, you feel that weird sort of feeling of like a pit in your stomach as you hear, like as you're getting closer and that breathing kind of goes deeper and deeper. And you hear you can hear the subtle sound of chains clinking. You turn around maybe at one point and you just go, oh, it's okay. He won't bite. I just curious if you have more information. It'll help us out a great deal. You lift the curtain. You look through. In a moment, like in the lack of light, it's really hard to kind of see. You see a figure with jet black. Well, sorry to tell the color. Say like looks like almost like wet hair that is like kind of coming down in this very long sort of like sort of slight curls at the end. You can see a pale body, no shirt. Um, you can see extremely thin, but you see there are scars all over this figure's body, even in the darkness in this. Um, you see he's wearing pants and he's kind of just like sitting in bed, but the bed's kind of propped up like sort of in a way that like allows him to be able to kind of like sit up forward in case he were to vomit or whatever. Um, you see eyes that kind of just dart in your direction. I think there's a solid second, and it's up to you, Mile. There's a solid second where you do not recognize this person.
Yeah, I think out of context, Milo would take his time to study, to like see who it is.
You see the almost razor sharp ears. Looks up at you. Halfling. seems to notice you, and I would say with your insight, you feel like he recognizes you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you heard him say halfling.
Yeah. Milo's gonna take a step in and see if he recognizes him.
I've felt it. I felt them burning. Everyone. Looks up at you and you see the eyes kind of flash like a bright gold for a second. You notice the chains that are on the side seem to clink a little bit more as you see the wrists start to kind of grow, and you see hair start to kind of climb up onto his hands and his claws, and his fingers that kind of break out into claws. You see this figure. That's as far as he can get, and just you see him kind of like drop to another sort of space, and you notice that he was in the middle of a transformation.
Yeah. This is I'm sorry. This Score's oldest brother, right?
No.
Who am I thinking of?
This is one of the only Venrona brothers that you've seen, if I recall. This is Demorin Venrona. The one that was put high away because Darth's brother told you that his father keeps him around because he feels the pain of the Venrona family when they're near.
Yeah.
So, as you see this figure kind of trying to catch its breath, the voice of Aesop in the back of your head just goes, "And what happened next?" And with that, we're going to end tonight's session.
God.